Do you want an iron farm like this for your Bedrock Edition worlds? If so, stick around. I'll show you how. Hello everyone, my name is Light and welcome back to the lab. For today's experiment, I have a brand new Minecraft add-on to share with you guys. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Alright folks, before we get into the nitty-gritty about the add-on, let me give you a little bit of information about myself. For anyone that does not know, I am actually an application developer in my real life job, so I feel it was, kind of a natural progression for me to want to get into writing Minecraft add-ons. And let me say, I had an absolute ton of fun while I was writing this. I learned so much, and I'm definitely looking forward to writing more of these in the future for you guys. Whew! Alright, folks. Now, while I was writing this, I actually gave myself, 3 goals or rules, I guess, whatever you want to call them. Number 1, I wanted to try to use an item or mob that is already in the game, but doesn't really have, much of or any use at all. So an example of this would be, say, something like a bat. They exist, but really, what are they good for? Right? Right. Alright. Now, number 2, whatever I do must not interfere with any of the existing game mechanics. Now, if you've read the title, you know we're dealing with iron farming, so in some way, shape, or form, we're probably also going to be dealing with villagers. So that being said, things that we could have interfered with would be like a villager breeder or the villages themselves, but don't worry, I've put in some safeguards for that. We'll talk more about that later. All right. And then finally, number 3, no matter whatever I implement has to be easy. We've all seen Iron Farm tutorials and some of the monstrosities that these people build. Like as glorious as they are, like Silent Whisper did that 12 stacked one. As glorious as that is anybody really going to be building that in their survival worlds? I think not. However, with these new mechanics, you could build something that has the rates of that farm way easier. I promise you that. Alright, so now that you've heard me talk a little bit about myself and give you the rules, let's get into the requirements. Come join me, and I'll meet you over here. Alright, folks, let's talk requirements. Alright, now, for the requirements, I'm going to be giving you these per module. When I say a module, in this add-on, that is the equivalent of a 20 villager, 20 bed, 20 workstation iron farm in current Minecraft. So what I'm about to give you will be the requirements equivalent to that type of iron farm. So for this add-on, we'll start with the workstations. You will need a grand total of 0. That's right, absolutely no workstations for this type of iron farm. Now, as far as the beds go, per module, you will need at least 1 bed. If all you'll be setting up is 1 module, then you need 1 bed. However, multiple modules can be powered by 1 singular bed. For instance, there is a little iron farm off in the distance that you guys can't see. Within that little farm, and we'll take a look at that later, there are 4 modules, and all 4 modules in that little farm are powered by 1 singular bed. So it really depends on the size of your farm. But as far as the modules go, 1 module equals 1 bed, if that's all you're going to have. Alright, now as for the villagers, this is where it gets even more interesting, folks. So, for the count, you will need a grand total of 4 villagers. I tried to match the villager requirement to make it the same as Java, which is only 3 villagers, but based on what we're doing, I didn't think 3 was very safe, so I put it at 4. Alright, now what type of villagers do we need? Well, that's what this little display behind me here is for. Starting over here on my left, we have the baby villagers. As always, they are no good, folks. They can't work, they can't do anything. No good. So away they go. Next in line, we have the Peasant Villager. This guy is pretty close, doesn't have a job, but still not quite what we're looking for. So, get rid of him. Over here, we have our Employed Villager. Now, when I say Employed Villager, I mean a guy who has, attached to a workstation, has a job, but since we don't require any workstations, this guy, no good. So you might be wondering, well, what's that leave us with? Well, if we look on the end here, folks, we have the humble nitwit. And yes, that is correct. The iron farm in this pack will be powered, folks, by 4. That's right, 4 nitwits. And this is what helps us meet rule number 1. If you'll remember, I said rule number 1 was to try to give either an item or a mob that had limited to no use more of a purpose. And I think by using the humble nitwit, we have accomplished just that. Because as far as I know, the only 2 things you can really use nitwits for in current Minecraft are a villager breeder, because that's right, you can breed 2 nitwits together to get more villagers, that's completely fine. Or, perhaps you're using them as bait in some kind of trap. Either way, for us, we will need nitwits and we will need a count of 4. Now, because you need 4, that's probably going to be the trickiest part of your entire setup, is getting the 4 nitwits. So how do you go about doing that? Well, number 1, you could set yourself up a breeder, keep your eye out for when the villagers grow up, see if you got any nitwits, put them in your farm. Or, if you have any local villages near where you're set up, you can go check those villages and you'll probably find some nitwits there as well. Just make sure, you have a minecart or a boat or something like that, so you can get them back to your location. Whew, alright folks, well now that we've gone through the requirements, let's go take a look at what it takes to set up a module. Follow me and I'll meet you over here. Alright folks, to start building our module, I would actually recommend grabbing your glass first. What we're going to need is a 2-high tube, essentially somewhere where we can put the villagers. So just go ahead, create yourself a structure like this. So a structure like that, and then of course make it 2 high. And in this space in the middle here is where we're going to want our villagers to go. Now I'm not going to put them in there just yet. We're actually going to build up the rest of the module first. Perfect. So the next question is how do we know where the golems are going to spawn? Well, based on all the testing that I've done, the golems always seem to spawn on the southeast corner of the block that the villagers are standing on. So for instance, that would be the southeast corner of this block. Now, how do you know which way is the southeast? Well, even though I didn't mention it in the materials, if you don't have any near you, like I actually do, there's a patch of sunflowers right over there. But if you don't have any sunflowers near you, go ahead, grab yourself a sunflower from, your local forest or whatnot, place it down beside your structure, and whatever way the sunflower points is east. So for instance, the face of the flower is looking that way, so that way is east. So now that we know that, we know the golems are going to spawn on the southeast corner. Now when we're looking east, over to the right, over here is the south, and over to the left would be the north. So that means the southeast corner of the block is going to be right there, meaning that the golems are going to come out of this corner right here. Now, using this piece of information, we can build up a structure that will essentially allow us to corral the golems right back here, have them burn up in lava pretty much immediately, and, continue to spawn. So, the way that I would recommend building it, next, go ahead, grab your leaves. You're going to want 2 there, 2 there. Now, I'd also recommend 2 here, 2 here, on this side like this. You'll want 2 here, like that. 2 here, like this. Next, take out these 3 blocks right here. Grab your hoppers. So we're going to want 3 hoppers. The first hopper is going to go into this dirt block right here. We're going to remove that later, but that's where the first hopper goes. So into this dirt block, like that. And then the next 2 hoppers are going to go into this hopper. So 1 like that. And 1 like that. You should have your 3 hoppers. Next, take out these 2 blocks right here. Put yourself in a chest. Now, keeping in mind, this is a very basic setup, so I'm only using the one chest. Ideally, I'm going to leave storage up to you guys. You can decide where the iron goes when it starts coming in. Once all this is in place, go ahead, put down 3 more leaves right here. Using leaves above the chest is perfect because it will still allow the chest to open. Then you can go ahead and put 3 more, so you have 2 high like that. Next, grab your signs. This is what we're going to use to hold up the lava. So we're going to want 1 here. You don't have to put any writing on it. 1 there, and then turn around. We're also going to want 1 right here. All right. Now next, go ahead and make the entire structure 3 high with your leaves. Like that. Now we're also going to put leaves here once we get our villagers inside. And if you want, you can even leave these ones out until you get the villagers in. But I would definitely recommend having this one. Because at this point, this is where we can put in our lava. Now it's up to you, however you want to do this. You could use 1 bucket. That'll do the job. So put it in like that. It'll spread out. Exactly like that. See how it's all being held up? There's nothing coming down. So that's perfect. Or if you want, you can use 3 separate sources. So put 1 there, just like that. I like using the 3 different sources, so we can have the equal lava all the way across. All right. Now that we're at this point, folks, that is it, if you can believe it, for a module. That's the whole basic structure. The next thing is to go ahead and put in our villagers. So with the magic of video editing and a snap of the fingers, and voila, we have our villagers. Now that we have those guys in place, we can go ahead and cover the top of this with some more of our leaves, just like that. Again, this will prevent any spawns on the top. Now, if you want, at this point, you could put some magma blocks around the base of your module. Like I say, you will get cats. So, if you were to put some walls around this or something, you could make a magma block floor. So that way when the cats spawn, they'll eventually end up on the magma blocks and, get taken care of. However, that's totally up to you. But now that we have our module built up, villagers in place, we need to add our final ingredient, which is the bed. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to place the bed back here, just like that. As we can see, our villagers connected. Now, if all goes well, we should have our first golem within 20 to 30 seconds. And then the moment they start spawning, after the golem dies, you'll get another one within 20 to 30 seconds. And that'll just keep going, for as long as you have the area loaded. All right. Okay, so again, we'll give it just a little more time, and we should see one pop in any moment. Voila, just like that. Like I said, when he popped in, we could see that he was more over here, indicating that he came off the southeast block, or the southeast corner of that block. So because we know this, we can corral it into our lava, the golem dies immediately, and the drops end up in our chest. Just like that. Alright, perfect. Now the question is now that you have 1 module, how do you add a second? Well, that's actually really, really simple, folks. The radius that your villagers or nitwits actually need to be in order for them to spawn golems is within 3 blocks of each other. The reason I went within 3 blocks and, having to have 4 nitwits is because when you go to a village, it's very rare that a natural village in Minecraft will have 4 nitwits, and it's even rarer that, all 4 of them will be within the same 3 blocks. So I feel in those regards we're pretty safe from any rogue golems in our villages. And as well, even in our breeders. Typically when we see nitwits in our breeders, people usually take care of them right away. Well now, rather than taking care of them, the moment you see one, you can move them over to your next module. So you can just keep building onto this thing. Alright. However, now that we got that out of the way, like I say, it is a 3-block radius. So the next group of villagers has to be 3 blocks away from this group of villagers. So that, 3 this way, 3 that way, whichever way you want to go. So if we were going to the side here, I would count 1, 2, 3. And this would mean that we could technically put our next group of villagers right here. I would actually put an extra block in between to maybe make it 4, and put the villagers, say, right there. So if you were to build up this exact same module, get yourself another 4 nitwits, and have it right here, both of these modules would spawn golems. Now you've heard me talk about, these modules spawning golems every 20 to 30 seconds. So what does that mean in regards to the rates? Well, on Java, when you have a 3 villager zombie-based iron farm, you're looking at anywhere, from 4 to 500 ingots, depending on a few variables and factors. The rates of this farm, and they will be very consistent, will be on average 450 ingots every hour. So you can imagine, if you have a bunch of these strung together, like say 4 for an example, you could have almost 2,000 guaranteed iron ingots every hour. Wow! Alright folks, to show you an example of 4 of these modules strung together, we can actually take a look at this farm right here. This is the one that I used actually in the photo, so you'll probably recognize it. And as you can see already, each one of these modules will spawn their own golems. And based on the rates, each of these modules will produce approximately 450 ingots every hour, so we're looking at 900 per 2. So, on average, 1,800 ingots, or we'll say, 2,000 for short, every single hour. And these are stackable, guys. You could literally build this again and again and again, going up in the sky. Now, at some point, you will have to add another bed, because you'll get to a height where the villagers will no longer link to this bed down below. But you could keep stacking these. And just think, every layer, 2,000 ingots coming in. Insane. Just insane. We've never had rates like this on Bedrock, ever. So, hopefully, everyone will enjoy and appreciate this. Alright folks, now that you've seen the setup, you've heard the rules, you know how it works, you've seen me build the module, the final question is, how do you get this add-on? Well, that's going to lead us to the next chapter in Light's Lab, folks. Stick around, I'm going to show you how. In order to get this add-on, folks, you'll need to visit my new website. That is correct. I now have an official website where you can go and check out some of what I'm doing. In order to get there, open up your favorite web browser, and in the address bar, you're going to type in Lights Lab. That's LITES LAB, and then it's .ca. I am from Canada, so it is a Canadian website, .ca. Once you have that in your address bar, go ahead, press enter, and you'll be taken to my new website. So this is what you should get. As you can see, I have some add-ons, I have access to my tutorials, which you can view on YouTube, and as well, the Hopelessly Bedrock series that you can also view on YouTube. Now, since we're here to talk about the Better Iron Farming add-on, once you get to this page, you'll come up to the menu, you click on Add-ons. That'll take you to the add-ons page where you can see this guy right here, Better Iron Farming. I will have more add-ons coming soon, which is why you see this, so stay tuned for that. Now, to get to the download area, click on the image for the add-on that you're interested in, and that'll take you to the specific page for that add-on. So you'll get a little more information about the add-on itself. A lot of this I went over in the video. And then once you're good, you can come here and you can click this button to download the add-on. You will get it in a zip file, which you will then have to unpack. And then once you unpack it, that will give you access to the MC pack file, which you can then install into your Minecraft. Now, I'm not going to go over how to install MC pack files. There are tons of videos and tutorials out there on how to do that. So please feel free to reach out to YouTube and you can get that information. But if you absolutely do need some help, please feel free to let me know in the comments of this video. All right, folks, now that you know how to get it, let's go back to the world and we'll finalize. All right, folks, before we sign off for today, I just want to throw out the idea of possibly setting up a Discord in the future. If this add-on takes off and a lot of people end up using it, I'm sure over time the YouTube comments would no longer become a viable option for support. And if that is the case, please let me know. Maybe we can consider setting up a Discord. All right. And as well, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. All of those help me out a ton. So if you would, please do so. But on that note, once again, my name is Light, and thanks for stopping by. Bye! All right, now to get some of that sweet, sweet iron. Oh, yeah.